everybody, welcome back to my channel. It's Andrea, and today I have my 5th update for the Panner's Pan project pan. This is a project that was created by Elizabeth, known as Cookie Pans over on Instagram, and it's a way to spotlight your favorite project panners slash beauty content creators. And it's a very open-ended project. There's no official start date, no official end date. It's just whenever you want to start it, you start it, and whenever you've gotten through your list of panners, you end it. So I am doing it with 6 panners at a time, 5 makeup, beauty related items at a time, and then 1 extra panner. Because I'm doing so many projects, and 10 is just seems a little too many, but I think 5 is a pretty good number. So I do have a panner rolling out today, but you'll have to continue watching to see who it is. And we're just going to get started with my products. So to get started, for Elizabeth herself, I have this Maybelline Master Glaze blush stick in Just Pinched Pink. This represents her Never Have I Ever project, in which you pick a product type that you've never panned before and attempt to pan it. And I have never panned a blush stick before. Now, when I brought this into the project for her, this already was flush with the top of the plastic. And this is how much I've got left. Doesn't look like a lot, but I used this 22 times this past month since the beginning of the project, which this is the 5th update. So I believe I started this in September or October. I can't do math, but I've used this 80 times and I still have this much left. I am going to have to try and dig this out and put it in a different container, because I use the e.l.f. Putty Blush brush to, I stick the brush in the tube, but it's getting so far down there, the brush is a little bit, I'm not quite getting enough on the brush as I would like, so I need to put it in easier packaging. I hope that once I dig it out, it will go a little bit faster. I really, really hope this is done next month. And nothing against Elizabeth, not that I don't want to keep her in my project, but I was also working on this in, was it my Throwback 30 last year? I think it was. And I used a ton of this. I've been using this for like a year and a half, so I just want it to be done. Next up is Jessica Lee. She is the creator or co-creator of the Fantastic Ladies Facebook group. She also comes up with a ton of project ideas, and she also loves to franken things. I'm not super into frankening, but I do have this eyeshadow that I frankened because when I got the palette, all 3 shades were smashed to smithereens and there was no saving them individually, but I could make a franken shadow out of it. So it's pressed into this Becca Champagne Pop Mini Compact. My goal is to hit pan. I've used this 2 more times in the past month for a total of 15 times. I really don't know how close to pan I am, honestly. I just don't use it enough, but at the same time, I've got so many eyeshadows going on and so many projects, I could focus on it, but then I would kind of be to the detriment of everything else. So I'm okay with it being slow and steady. I can definitely tell that I'm using it, so that's good. I also did try it as a glowy blush topper, which it actually looked pretty nice. It's just, I'm also working on a bunch of blushes and highlighters, so 1 or 2 uses a month is probably all I'm going to get on that until I hit pan, but I'm at least making some progress with it. The next panner I have in this project is someone that I absolutely adore. It is my friend Lisa from Banding, Panning, and Beyond, and her favorite palette is the Colored Rain Safari Rain palette, which is also my favorite palette. So it was only fitting that I brought in this palette and picked her favorite shade out of it to work on, which is the shade Tigress right here, which is what I have on my outer 2/3 of my lid. I've used it 2 times this month for a total of 7 times, and there's a bit of a dip forming. Hopefully you can see. It'll still, with only 2 uses a month, it'll still take me a little bit to hit pan, but this is a really creamy formula, so I don't think it'll be too hard. The next panner that I have rolled in is Lainey from Makeup with Lainey, I love her videos. She loves indie eyeshadows, which is something that I also love. She loves Divina, which is a brand that I also love. And last year in her Pan Those Eyeshadows, she hit pan on the Divina Multichrome in Exosphere. So that is what I'm going to do for Lainey. Hopefully you can see there's a little bit of a dip forming. I've used this 3 times this past month. I've used this a total of 5 times. I used it one time as an actual like lid shade, and then the other 2 times were topped on top of my black liner. So I think that's why you can actually see the bit of a dip, because I have to use a finer brush for that. But these are so creamy and a little bit goes a long way. So this is probably going to be in here for a while as well. But that's okay because I'm loving working on it. It's just a beautiful shade, a beautiful formula. I can't recommend Divina Multichromes enough. Then the last like makeup beauty related panner that I have rolled in was my dear friend Valerie. I rolled her in last month. Now, Valerie is so sweet and so generous and freaking hilarious. And we're trying our hardest to get her to start her own YouTube channel, so I don't think Valerie's one to give into peer pressure, but I don't think we're going to stop trying either. But for Valerie, I decided, because she was so, again, sweet and kind and generous, and she sent me the Lime Crime Venus XL2, and then as like a little bonus, she sent me the Viseart Neutral Matte Eyeshadow Palette. So I thought I would bring both palettes in for her, no pan left behind style. You can see my post-its to every single time. Like, I'm going to keep shouting out Allie for introducing me to this concept, because it's made my eyeshadow, like, panning usage tally situation a whole lot easier when you put the post-it note on the front of the palette and you mark things off as you go. So this is what this palette looks like. There's 12 shades in it. You can see I only have 3 shades left to use. The 3 shades are this reddy, orangey, browny color, this like neutral mid-tone brown, and this light gray. I've only crossed off when I used it the first time. Several of these I have used more than once, but since my goal is just to use each shade once, I didn't bother like trying to keep track of uses if I used it more than once. I will say, I mean, this will come as no surprise, I'm not huge into neutrals, but the formula on this is so stinking good that after I had used it a couple of times, we were talking about the Sephora sale, like the end of the year sale, where they had, I don't know, it was like 20 or 30% off their sale items. And the Viseart Paris Love Letter was in their sales section. So I picked it up because this formula is really good. Haven't used that one yet, but thanks a lot, Valerie. I'm only semi-kidding. And then this is the Venus XL2. You can see I've used 7 out of the 18 shades one time. I've used, oh goodness, this is a big boy. I've used In Bloom, Sage, Radiant, Ivy, Obscure, Locust, and Classical. So I still have 11 shadows to use out of here. I mean, theoretically, I could have just like powered through and done all of my uses on these 2 palettes in this first month, but I like Danny's philosophy about wanting to keep panners in for more than a month just so people have more of a chance to go discover them. And honestly, even with just the 3 left in the Viseart and the 11 left in here, which I could easily do in a month, I don't know that I will. But we'll see. So Valerie is still staying in this project for at least another month. Finally, that means we come to the last panner in this project, which is my like hobby panner. I don't really know what to call it. But I have Anna from Maximalism Rehab, and she's doing a no-buy. She actually did a whole year of a no-buy, and she's doing another one, which I don't know how she does it because I fail every single low-buy I ever set myself. I don't know how I would do a no-buy. But she's also just working towards having less stuff. And one of her hobbies is cooking. So she has a bunch of cookbooks. She started a project called Project 52 Cookbooks, where she tries to make a recipe out of each of her cookbooks. And so I decided to do the same thing. I don't have 52. I had 18. And I did manage to either make a recipe out of the remaining 6 or just decide to get rid of them. So I will go through those right now. First is this Pizza from Everyday to Gourmet cookbook. We got this last year. I got my husband a pizza stone and a pizza peel, and this cookbook came with the pizza peel. We have a dough recipe that we use all the time that we like, and these are much more specialty pizzas, and honestly, there were maybe like 1 or 2 that looked halfway decent, but my husband is kind of picky. There's nothing in here that he would have eaten, and I'm going to be honest, when we make pizza at home, I'm fine with just pepperoni, so this is getting decluttered. Next, I have this Betty Crocker's International Cookbook. My mom actually was giving this away, and I said I would take it because there was like 1 recipe in here that I remember making and liking. And I have not used this cookbook since my mom gave it to me, which was probably at least 5 years ago. And it's just looking like the photography and everything. It just looks very dated, and it's just, I was looking through it trying to find something, and I'm just like, no. We're just going to get rid of it. The next 2 cookbooks are actually my husband's, but they're part of our cookbook collection, so I included them anyway. This first is this stir fry recipe book, which he's had for years and years and years, and I can't honestly remember which specific recipe we cooked out of here this last time, but we use this all the time, so this is definitely staying. Next one that is my husband's that is also staying is this gigantic Martha Stewart Living Cookbook, the Original Classics. I made, there's no picture or anything, but I made the potato gnocchi out of this, which is the first time I've tried making gnocchi, and they definitely did not come out Martha Stewart quality, I guess I should say. They weren't bad. They were just, I honestly think I put the potatoes through the food mill like she says to, but I just think they got overworked. They were like, the gnocchi were a bit too soft and gluey, and like I said, they didn't taste bad. They were definitely edible. It was just the texture wasn't. I liked my gnocchi with a little more bite than what these had. Madeline did help me make the yonki, as she called them, and they were good. And there's a bunch of other stuff in this cookbook that I'm sure I would like to make at some point, but got another one done and dusted. Next, I have this Betty Crocker's Sheet Pan Desserts cookbook. And I made the German chocolate sheet cake out of it. It was okay. I mean, here's the thing. And there's nothing wrong with box mixes. Please don't misunderstand me. But if I'm making a recipe from a cookbook, it's because I want to make something from scratch. And a lot of these recipes start with box mix. And there's nothing special or unique about any of the recipes in here. They're all things that I could find on Pinterest. So this is another one that I'm decluttering. I mean, the German chocolate cake, the recipe was good. They had you make it in a really weird way. Like, you made the cake, and then you mixed the coconut and like the condensed milk for the topping, and then you broiled it and then put chocolate frost on. It was weird. Like, it tasted good, but I've made German chocolate cakes from scratch before, and even German chocolate cakes with the frosting in a can, and I would rather have those than the one that I made out of here. So that's getting on. And then the last one that I'm going to declutter, and I did debate about this one, it is my Alton Brown I'm Just Here for More Food cookbook. It's I like Alton Brown. I really used to love Good Eats, back when Food Network was actually a food cooking channel. This is a very, like if you're into science-y stuff, and I mean, he goes a lot into the chemistry of baking and all that kind of stuff, but like the recipes don't even start until this far into the books, like page 90. And then they're kind of technical, and it's just, I was looking through it and I'm like, I don't think there's anything in here that I would really care to, like, there's nothing special about any of these recipes. And I've had this book for, again, probably over 7 years, and I think I've made it a recipe out of it one time. So it's just time to say goodbye. So unfortunately, I'm rolling Anna out of this project, but I'm super happy I decided to start doing this, like rolling in panners, but panning their hobby instead of putting makeup with it, because I started with 18 cookbooks, and I'll have to count again just to make sure I'm correct, but I'm pretty sure I decluttered 11 of them because I just wasn't using them. And I'm not on my way to the road to minimalism by any stretch of the imagination, but I would like to have a little bit less stuff, especially stuff that I'm not using. So I'm really happy that I rolled Anna in and decided to do my cookbooks for her. So that means that I have to roll in a new panner. And I decided, because it's the perfect time of year for it, that I was going to roll in Shanrell from Shanrell Stash. She is so like sweet and bubbly, and I love her Child of the 80s updates because she always, like, she has the blonde mullet wig and she does the eye makeup, and it's just, she always dresses up, and it's just really fun to watch her videos. But I'm rolling her into my hobby portion of this project, so if you know Shanrell, you know what I'm rolling in for her. That woman loves her tea. So I'm going to, like, I have clips of all of my tea. I took it out and I took pictures of it because I was not going to bring all of that in here. But I have a lot of tea, and all of it pretty much is from a brand called David's Tea. It's a Canadian brand, but they have have had, I don't know if it's still there or not, they had a store in Chicago that was by my sister's apartment when she lived there, and she introduced my other sister and I to their tea, and now I have way too much, and I don't drink tea that often, but if there's any time that I'm going to drink tea, it's going to be in the wintertime, so I thought I would bring my tea in for Shanrell. I have 30 different, like, bags, packets, sachets, what have you, of tea. So for Shanrell, my goal will be, I want to make at least 1 cup of tea from every separate tea that I have, but I also have a bunch here that don't have that much left that I just want to make sure that I, like, get out because they've been sitting in my cabinet forever. So besides the 1 cup of tea from every type, I have this little packet, which I think might have like maybe 2 or 3 cups. I think it's more than a single serving, but I'm not exactly sure. But this is Cocoa Chai Rooibos. I do not know how to say this. Rooibos. But I have that. I have, this is Midsummer Night's Dream. This is a fruit infusion. I have this tin. This is called Bubbies Baklava. You can see it looks like there's more in there than there is, but there's a lot of these teas have a lot of extra stuff for flavor. It's not just straight tea. So like this, I'm pretty sure that's like, there's like cardamom pods and like ginger chunks and stuff in here. So there's not as many uses in here, or there's not as many cups in here as it might seem. This one, I actually have no idea if this is a David's Tea, what brand this is, but there I have this, which I should just use. I have, this is actually an ornament that has tea inside, called Secret Santa. This is how much is left. This is old. I got this as a gift from my sister's boyfriend, and they've been broken up for 4 years. So I just need to use it. And, you know, I can have like the little ornament, but without tea inside. And then the rest are all of the, I don't know, these bags. I have four that are more than halfway done. They're probably like 2/3 of the way done. This is the creme caramel. I never say it that way. Creme caramel rooibos. Okay, I probably should have looked this up, but this one, the coffee pour. I have a black cherry black tea. This one is really good. I really like this one. Actually, one of the tea bags I have is actually an unopened one of these, so I'm not going to open that one. I just want to finish this one up. And then I have a lifelong oolong. This is like a peach flavored one. So, like I said, all of these have minimal cups of tea in them if I would just drink them. So that will be my goal for Chanrel. I'm excited to be rolling in another panner to spotlight. I will have all current and past panners that I worked on linked down below. And I know there's a bunch of other people doing this project. If you just search the hashtag PannersPan, you'll find lots of videos and lots of posts on Instagram, because it's just a really fun project to help spotlight some of your favorite people. So I hope you are having a great day or night wherever you are. You're staying safe and sane and healthy, and I'll talk to you in the next one. Bye.